Yo, Natsu here. As you can see from the title, I'm not actually doing what I said I was doing yesterday. I miscalculated something when I calculated for how many parts I was going to do before the new series. I had taken 2 scripts for the... Sorry about that. Okay, like I was saying, I had taken 2 scripts for what if Deku wasn't Danmachi. And I actually had a lot less than I thought on them. So yeah, I basically kept going. It's basically first part of was ended around 25 minutes, around 30 I think more. But yeah, basically it kind of split about half-half. I thought it would be longer when I wrote them, so yeah. Since basically I drew the bones of the situation, and I was sure that I would have more to say. But basically halfway I saw that I didn't have enough things, and basically just kept going. So yeah. Instead of doing 2 parts of Deku and Danmachi, it was only 1. I'm really sorry about that. But hey, so right now I'm going to do the 1 part for Lightning Dragon Slayer Deku, where they are about to go to town after Laragula came back to get them after they all got their monster cores, which are for C ranks and above monsters, if I remember correctly. That's how I placed it. But yeah, so in this part, you're actually going to see, well, hear about half of the time that is left in that world. Or around that time, depending on if I actually do like yesterday and overestimate the amount that I had to talk about for a part. So yeah. Since they basically, if I remember correctly, Mina got 3 of these special monsters that can actually help gather magic. Kirishima didn't get any. Deku found 1. I think that's what I had said. Pretty sure there were supposed to be like 4 or 5 that were found. But yeah, so anyway. Laragula basically brought them towards a town where, well, this time not a village, but literally a town. And basically told Kirishima to be careful there with his magic, and that Mina should probably wear a cloak for nearly the entire time they were there. Basically saying that, oh yeah, they don't like demi-humans. Well, not really that they don't like them, more that because of something that happened only like a few years ago, well, a few dozen years ago, basically most of the adults basically see them as people who could probably attack them, even though basically what had happened was a group of demi-humans that had literally been enslaved by a noble from another city, basically told around 100 plus demi-human slaves to go attack that city, and they couldn't resist the order, so they basically were sent to die, doing a lot of damage though. So yeah, kind of making that city think badly of all demi-humans. Basically how they see it is, yeah, just a second. Yeah, so basically, even though after a while they heard that, oh yeah, it was literally a noble from another city that tried to just, well, literally try to make problem in the city for him to probably come and help to make more money for himself. So basically, the damage they got was worse than what the noble expected, so he was happy. But they didn't need his help, making him angry. And at some point, a spy that was sent there basically heard him scream that if he would have known that they wouldn't have helped him, he would have sent more slaves to attack them. But yeah, anyway, even after that, they are still really not good with demi-humans. Kids don't actually care a lot. Yeah, they hear that their parents say that demi-humans are evil sometimes. But compared to their parents, it's not, they didn't live it, so they know that, oh, not all demi-humans are evil. But even though the parents know that as well, because of what happened, they basically are stuck with, be careful with that, it can be dangerous, or it might attack us. So yeah, Laragula transformed into her human form and went in the city to, well, with them, to go find blacksmiths, well, a blacksmith, specifically to try and see if they can create weapons or equipment with the stones that they got. Sorry about that. Basically, Mina keeping two being given to Kirishima, and one being given to Deku, even though Deku basically thinks that it won't really matter because of, well, everything else going on. With Laragula saying that, well, it can still help. And it's better to keep it like that, since those two seem to absorb magic, well, at different pace, but they keep up with each other, so they should only have two each to basically try to keep that a bit and make their training do the difference. Since Mina absorbs magic easier, while Kirishima simply gains strength faster. Kirishima, because his body keeps transforming, gains strength faster, magic faster, but because Mina keeps training, her training helps her keep up. Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry about that. But yeah, so obviously she gave the last one to Deku, basically sharing them all across the board. And the rest of the stones were basically, well, asked by the blacksmith to do either armors with them or other things. Basically, that if he can also try to upgrade the weapons. And Deku that didn't actually receive any weapons since, the blacksmith that they tried to take didn't actually have any idea to do anything. Because I think I made him not have a weapon yet, even though the Ice Wolf could have been used to do something. Well, it was used to make a piece of armor that helped him resist heat and cold, but yeah, whatever. He didn't have a weapon yet. So, with different things that they got, Deku, that if I remember correctly, he found a nest of ants that had a really tough carapace. So he killed a huge amount of them, getting a huge amount of cores, and taking a few pieces of them as well with him. Obviously, since he doesn't yet have storage magic, he had to limit what he took, since, obviously. They each had a bag for the cores, but cores are basically, well, depending on which type of cores, which, funny enough, it doesn't actually depend on the rank of the monster, it literally depends on the strength itself. Ooh, there's fog. Sorry. But yeah, it's getting a bit cold. I can't believe I said that like this. I wear a vest during summer, so I'm always cold. So me saying that is basically just like, oh yeah, prove that summer's coming. Though around my parts during the week it should be a bit hotter, so yeah. Also, I know it's not dust because it would probably hurt my eyes if it was. But yeah, going back to the what if. Basically, because of the huge amount of things Deku got, mostly cores, which for the ants in particular, normal ants, well, the normal workers who aren't that strong and actually only live like 2 to 3 years, don't actually get to grow stronger. So their cores are normally around the same size, which is around the size of a marble. Something around that size. Which is funny since normally you would think, oh, a big ass ant, a big ass monster, it will have a big core. No, literally the only point of those workers is to build the nest. They literally don't have any attack power. So they're not strong, like nowhere near. Like if they were trapped in the right, if they were alone, some slimes could actually beat them. They're a C class, D rank monster. Damn, I had trouble saying that. Because yeah, every time I said C rank monsters up to now in this video, I meant D rank monster. Sorry about that. Bike. And there it goes. But yeah, basically, even for D rank monsters, compared to a slime who's G or F rank depending on which type, since literally G types is for the weakest slime ever, F rank is some of the slimes and a few other monsters that basically can't actually harm anyone. Then there's E rank, who also don't have cores. Then D rank. The only reason why those ants are placed in D ranks is because, well, first they have a core. So they didn't, well, they class the monsters by their strength, but if they have a core, they place them automatically at D. Since obviously every monster under that don't have a core, or extremely rare cases where they do have one, they're still classed as lower monsters. But yeah, the only reason those worker ants are classed as D is because of the core inside of them when they're super weak. They're basically just made to build the nest. Then you count the warriors ant, which those are D rank monsters for a reason. There are more warriors than workers though, so Deku had more of those. Those ones actually have a kind of normal size core for D rank monsters, which is about the size of a fist. Depending on the person for sure, since I don't have massive hands, but I still have big hands, so for me it would be around the size of a punch. But yeah, a fist, I mean. But yeah, basically, the blacksmith, seeing everything that they got, mostly that much cores of ants, basically said that with those he could actually make, what are they called? Forearm guards, which won't actually be made to attack, but could actually absorb Deku's magic to basically increase the power of a normal punch. Basically think a gauntlets, but without actually guarding the hand, just the forearm. and it basically just absorbs magic to increase the power of the strike itself. So, Deku basically accepted that. They were only able to do one though, so he chose the left. And basically they did that over time. After that, for the other things, well, basically, for the two cores that are used for Mina, he actually does a type of chest armor for them, well, for her, to literally help her protect herself at the same time. For Kirishima, they make a crown-like thing with the 2 gems on it, which basically the only reason they did that was because of Mina's, who also had a type of crown on her, which, just like for Mina, they made a type of crown that's basically seen more as a jewelry made for enhancement. So, specifically something enchanted that adventurers or such use, so not royalty. And lastly, for Deku, they literally went and said, yeah, for you, why not just make a necklace, not a necklace, but a neck brace, basically something that he puts around his throat, basically like armor, with the gem inside, and basically said that they could add Deku's translating crystal in it to just basically allow him to use it as well. So yeah, once again, compared to the other two, since Deku's magic power increases way too fast, they cannot be made with a type of metal that would normally evolve with the user, except this once. Because basically, Deku accepted to give the rest of the cores he found to the blacksmith, which, for making his forearm brace, yeah, he only had enough to make one. But that's only because it needed a massive amount of normal, well, warrior end core, and only 3 warrior end cores. The rest of the warrior's end core couldn't actually be used for anything without something else added to it. So Deku basically gave it to him. And basically, after hearing the problem about, well, him not be absorbing magic way too fast and growing too fast, so normal metals that are made to grow with the user actually can't keep up and actually break because of the stress. So he was actually told that, if we count all the what those cores actually give in terms of cash, you would be about halfway through for a type of metal I have. I'll give you a discount since I like you. And then basically comes closer to Deku and basically just tells him that also Dragon Slayers should help each other, and basically turned around. Laragula heard that while Mina and Kirishima didn't, and she laughed because, oh, so he really is a Dragon Slayer. Basically, she had her jokes that, oh yeah, this is the blacksmith you want to go to if you are a Dragon Slayer or a dragon that tries to make something for a Dragon Slayer. She had heard rumors also that he was also a Dragon Slayer, and oh yeah, they're true. And that's why he's basically giving him a type of metal to actually make that, which is basically a mix between mithril and a tiny bit of orichalcum, basically allowing the orichalcum to absorb the excess magic, and that when the user doesn't actually send more magic inside the brace, well, the armor or weapon, Orichalcum slowly releases it to mix with the rest of the mithril. Normally, in fact, it wouldn't even be just half the cost what those cores would have given, but it's literally that the Dragon Slayer was like, oh yeah, this kid's growing fast, like nothing else that I could give him could actually hold on, unless I make something fully out of Orichalcum, like even mithril, which in that world is actually pretty common. Basically, for them, it's just an extremely hard metal that absorbs magic well, so it doesn't actually cost extremely high amount, since there's literally a huge amount of more metals that are harder to get, but basically, the mithril alone could have been paid. It's actually the piece of Orichalcum that actually costed a lot more. But yeah, he still gave it to Deku. So, Deku for sure accepts that. He tells them that, oh yeah, it's gonna take a few days and to actually leave the translating stone that Deku has so that it can be put inside of his neck brace. So, Deku basically doesn't have the ability to translate everything right now. Basically, being told to come back in 3 to 4 days. They leave, and basically, when they leave that place, yeah, Deku can't understand a lot from what others are saying. Like, he understands a few words in itself, but it's really not a lot. And basically, he tells Laragula that it would be nice to either learn the language from this place, well, the common human language from this place, because, yeah, she taught him a bit of Beastman language and a huge amount of Dragon language, but if they're here for 2 years, he would like to actually be able to speak without the brace, mostly since sometimes it might need to be taken off. Which did make her think that, yeah, it's true that they would probably need that. So basically going to get a room in a, sorry about that. Okay. Basically getting a room so that they can actually sleep. Basically booking it for a few weeks. Well, basically where they went, they can actually take a room for a certain amount of time, and if they need to leave before that time is over, they basically get given back half of the cost that it would take, because obviously they still need to clean the room afterward. So basically she took it for a few weeks, and for the next 4 days, basically Kirishima and Mina weren't able to use their translating stone either, with her basically teaching them how to speak the common human in that world. Well, to be more precise, the common human for that specific continent. Since yes, normally everyone in that world do have that language placed as like, oh yeah, universal, except for some beastmen who aren't actually taught the language. Basically, they're just given a translating stone and they get to hear normally for what others say, but for everyone else, they don't sound like anything, so they don't care. Except for some, obviously, but most of them don't actually care and just see them as slaves, which is bad. So basically, after 4 days, she went to take the items, came back, and basically, for an entire month, they were stuck in that room being taught the language. And she didn't want them to leave without knowing it, so that they're at least able to speak without it the common language. Well, universal, kind of. So once they had the all of the basics, with Deku having learned a lot faster than the two others. Simply because, well, we know that Kirishima is a bit intelligent. Well, is intelligent, I mean, but nowhere near Deku intelligence. With Mina being problematic, let's just say it like that. But yeah, basically, another thing that was happening was that at one point, like 1 year in, Deku's going to realize that, oh yeah, I forgot to help you with, your studies for our world. So that was one thing he promised to help with for Mina and Kirishima, but he kind of forgot until that point. But for now, they still forget. So once that's learned, at least, she tells them that now they're going to place a bit stronger, since now they actually have items to help them gather magic easier. She basically tells them that magic can actually amass itself in different places if certain things are around. And basically says that the type of magic they have also affects the growth that they get. Right now, what Kirishima and Mina are absorbing is just pure magic and remove elemental categories from it. While Deku, since his body was modified literally by a lacrima to actually be able to house magic, nearly every element are being attracted to him, with lightning being the easiest one to absorb, obviously, but basically every elemental types of magic are being added to his body, and over time kind of gets added to him. Though the elements aren't added, they basically get purged out of it, but he still get that amount of magic anyway, over a certain period of time. And basically she tells them that she is going to bring them to a small island, which is why they were actually going since a while closer to, the sea. Basically, she wanted to bring them there because that island had a volcano on it, which is a huge producer of fire, lava, and heat type magic. Basically wanting them to kind of adapt to that, since over time, if someone who absorbs magic of a certain element for long enough, their body can start to be resistant to it. So they want to bring them there until they're at least able to kind of absorb it correctly, to then bring them to another island, and then to another place, and basically like that, where they are going to stay there, fight monsters, train, and basically do that for the entire time. Which is why now I get to the reason why we're going to get to about 8 months before they actually leave that place. Which at the 1 year mark, Deku kind of realized that, oh shit, I forgot to teach them. So yeah, that also started to happen. But yeah, now we get to 8 months before they leave. They went to multiple different islands. Actually, the first place where she dropped them was a forest, which had a lot of plant and earth magic being released. Well, plant, life, earth, water magic. Above an ocean, there's a lot of water magic being put in the air, and you get the point. So, basically, Deku's body, obviously, he's not 100% proof to those elements. It's basically, oh yeah, it hurts you a bit less, and your body can actually resist it. So, it's not, oh yeah, Now Todoroki can't even hurt us. Far from that. But yeah, basically, they went for an island, well, the volcano island. They went to an ice continent. They went to an island with a huge thunderstorm nearly constantly above it, simply because that island is actually on a mineral vein of a special type of stone called lightning stone. Compared to a lacrima, it doesn't create magic, it actually just absorbs magic and then releases the element. So that island is basically lightning heaven. So for Deku, yeah, at that spot when they reached there, his body started to absorb a huge amount of magic. With the two others basically just staying there, trying to survive. Since obviously they have to be careful. Since compared to Deku, yeah, Kirishima can kind of resist lightning when in his hardened form, which by this point he has the full on hard mode, like his entire body hardens perfectly. He is not unbreakable level yet, but not far from that. While Mina, her acid became way strong. Also, her body is also a lot harder than before, since over the course of all of that time, their bodies actually were able to modify to actually create magic as well, just like Deku. And they were taught spatial storage magic. To be precise, two of them. Inventory and Dimension Home. I think that's the name of it. Basically, one is basically you can put, like, as large as your magic pool is, as large as you can make that space. And then for Dimension Home, it's basically a space that is, once again, proportional to your magic power. And basically, when you actually use it, you create a space where there is air. You can modify what is in it. Basically, it's like a small world that you control basically everything. So you can create water, make lightning storms, winds, harsh conditions, perfect conditions for lives. In fact, you can also accelerate or decelerate the time, which is why some court magicians are actually using those, Dimension Home, to breed monsters to get a near unlimited supply of cores, or monster parts, which is useful for experiments. So yeah, Deku, Kirishima, and Mina all have those two spells, and basically finished their tour of the different spots to absorb as much magic from different elements as possible. Though she was mostly doing that for Deku, it did help the two others basically get their bodies to start producing magic by themselves, and basically make their power even better. Like, literally, their quirks are now what I would call supercharged. So, Kirishima's normal hardening is pretty strong. But if he adds magic, then it is as strong, if not stronger, than Unbreakable. But most of the time, they won't actually use magic while in My Hero Academia unless they need to. Or at least for those two, while Deku is going to use it near constantly. Another thing that Deku, Mina, and Kirishima learned, which is hilarious, because literally the only reason they were taught that was because of a group of people they found that was that only used a type of magic, which is a type of transformation magic. What Laragula has is a specific type of transformation magic. Oh, there's a mouse. Sorry. But basically, what Laragula uses is a type of magic specifically made for dragons to look humans or elf-like or beastmen-like. What they were taught by the people on a certain island was actually a type of magic that allows them to transform into nearly anything, as long as they have enough magic to basically create that. So, basically, if Deku wanted to, with his amount of magic and with the Lacrima, he could actually transform himself into a dragon. Even though he won't need that, since at one point he'll actually be able to do it, since obviously, Dragon Slayer. So, yeah. Basically, they have transformation magic that they don't actually have the perfect capacity for. Though, what they can do is change their shape, skin color, and stuff like that while still looking human right now. So, Mina, when going to cities or kingdoms where they don't like demi-humans, she can actually look human. Which is funny. Just like Kirishima, if he wants to, can harden his body and transform himself to look like his normal self, while still having the strength of his hardening. Which he used a few times on some people who were joking at him. Basically, since the small amount of magic that their body creates is sent as the small amount of magic, some people were telling them that they were weak and didn't have a lot of magic compared to the other guy, with Kirishima nearly killing a few of them, since at one point they did become adventurers, and bandits and stuff like that were needed to be killed sometimes. So yeah, basically what they were doing was, at one point they got into an adventurers guild, which is placed around each continent and on some islands. So depending on the island, they could actually take jobs to get money, and a few times they had to kill humans. So yeah, they'll already be out of that fear by the time they go back to their world, and they know they'll have to be careful. But yeah. What the hell? Sorry about that. But yeah, so obviously they got pretty much a lot stronger, but just like I said in the part where they actually came to that world, they aged like in their normal world. So if they stay there for 50 years, they'll only age of 25 years. So there's no worry with their appearance. But mentally, they're older now, which I think they left when they were 13, 14. So they're basically going to get back, like, I think a month or two before UA starts, to actually give them the time to, like, go there. Or did I place it so they were 1 year before? I think I had placed it so that they were 1 year before, so that they would actually still go to school 1 year, show that they were good, then go to UA. Yeah, I think that was it. If it wasn't that, I'm changing it to that. Yeah, sometimes I just do that and it can be annoying for some people, I'm sorry. But yeah, so 8 months before they go back to their world, which I had explained before. Oh, there's a cat. Sorry, yeah, no, I don't have any excuses. I just love animals. They don't talk like other humans. But yeah, so basically, for the rest of the 8 months, which I'm only going to pass a few more things in this part. Actually, You know what? Since I couldn't do two parts of um, the other one, and that literally the only reason why I had those two parts only that became one was because the rest I didn't actually untangled it, well, place them back in the right order. But this one, they're all in the right order, so actually tomorrow I'm going to do a next part of this one. So tomorrow we're going to be at UA. So yeah, might as well continue until I finish, well, this world, I mean, obviously. Since I have like 10 minutes left for in that world. So yeah, I should have time. So yeah, basically after their training to be able to resist at least a bit of each magic type, well, magic elements, and that now they have both space magic and transformation magic, Larigula tells them that she's going to go to a certain spot, basically showing them a map, basically pointing them where they need to go, and telling them that she's going to go and wait there for them. And if they take longer than the 8 months that they have left, which is the moment where they realize that, oh shit, we only have 8 months left, they're going to be in a bit of a pickle, let's just say. So her challenge is to come to her and when they get to her, she wants them to have grown in power and have gotten there, well, to her in under 8 months before she left. She also told them that they need to all arrive at the same time. If not, she's going to punish them. Which gave them shivers, mostly to Mina, because they got a few punishments from her already. Mostly when she was trying to teach them all either the common language, beastman language, or dragon language. Since now they all know dragon language. Yeah, at one point Deku basically asked Larigula if they could finish his dragon language training, with Mina and Kirishima being interested in it, since obviously it could help them, just like Deku and Kirishima had decided to do it. Why Deku and Kirishima had decided to actually do it together in the My Hero Academia world. And Mina had so much trouble with learning that one that she got a few punishments. But yeah, so now she leaves and they are now supposed to get there within a month, 8 months, and need to get stronger at the same time. Since she explained that where she ended up is actually a spot where she is going is a spot with A-rank monsters. Not a lot of them, but they're still around there. So if they want to survive, they need to get stronger. Right now they can fight with C-rank monsters pretty easily, and in a group they can fight a single B-rank monsters with difficulty. So yeah, they need to get stronger. Which is why, basically over the time that they were around the world, basically, each of them actually got their hands on enough, they call them EXP stones because of video games, but they're called magic absorption stone, cores. But yeah, they each have, Deku has 6, Mina has 10, and Kirishima also has 10. Basically now they have entire armors on them, which is, yes, going to become their hero suits, since those armor, just like I explained for almost everything, have the ability to grow and evolve with the user. Which means that when the user grows, the armor also changes to accommodate that growth. So even once they're adults, they'll still be able to wear the same armor, which is going to make My Hero Academia will just see 3 kids in hero costumes, which are basically just looking like they came out of a fucking convention. But because of everything that are on their armor and how resistant they are, like at one point the armor basically gained the ability to actually be, well, self-repair over time if you give more metals. Though what's funny is that you just need to give any types of metal and it will basically transform it into the element, well, the metals they're already made of. So yeah, most of their stuff is either made of mithril or calcium or metals that are stronger than that. Mostly orichalcum or higher for Deku though, since he's way too strong. Like, the 2 others can't even fight against him together and win. Though they do put up a good fight since they always had more EXP stones, like they call them, with them. So they were able to kind of keep up with his growth. But then his own power basically and training did help him get over it. So yeah. Basically they're known as the youngest group of adventurers who can basically conquer the world. Though they only call that because, well, literally a few times they were seen, well, move on a dragon. Which obviously a lot of people think is like, oh, they have a pet dragon or something like that. So yeah. They start going for Laragula and killing as many monsters as possible, with Deku actually eating the cores by this point. And Kirishima and Mina also doing that, but not actually. Well, none of them actually have unlocked more magic elements in them. Like, Deku could probably have some by this point, but yeah, for some reason that Laragula doesn't know, which I'm not going to explain right now, Deku's not actually able to do what she told him, that, oh yeah, if you eat enough cores or cores of high enough monsters, you might unlock their elements and maybe as well some of their magics. It's not working. And basically for the next 6 months and a half, they're going toward where Laragula is. The spot where Laragula is, though, is actually going to see someone she calls an old friend. Another dragon. A much older one. Laragula basically knows that, oh yeah, we dragons nearly never die of old age, but we still have a certain illness that actually gives us the appearance of dying of old age. That virus is a soul virus. Basically eats away at the soul, which a dragon's soul is near infinite for lifespan, but that virus basically eats away so fast at it that, yeah, it kind of destroys the soul of a dragon in a few years. On any other living beings, like let's say a human, you contract it 2 days later, you're out. So elves that can live up to 1,000 years die in not even a month, which is pretty fucking big if you think about it. So now a dragon who lives, well, actually, a human who lives in that world typically from 100 to 120 years, because of magic improving their biology and stuff, Oh yeah, I should say Deku, Mina, and Kirishima have their biology augmented now. So yeah, Deku, because his biology is closer to that of a dragon, will most likely never die of old age, though he will age over time until a certain point. But Kirishima and Mina will live for a really long time compared to normal human in My Hero Academia. In fact, even for the world they're in right now, they will live longer than that. If you mean dying of old age. Which is going to be surprising for Larugula mostly. But yeah. But still, basically, for a human who lives for 120 years, they die in 2 days from the soul virus. An elf who lives around 1,000 years dies in about 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half, so pretty fucking fast. And then dragons who can survive with it for years. Basically, the reason she went to see him was mostly to say her goodbyes, because she probably will never see him again, which she is sad about. With the dragon telling her, well, the other dragon telling her that it's okay, and basically telling her that he was looking at her for the time she was here, saw the human she brought with her, and finds the dragon slayer pretty interesting. Larugula told him not to talk about that she basically was just too weak to actually take the lacrima away from a kid. Which the dragon, the other dragon, just laughed at her and said that she actually found someone that she liked. Not in the term of love, but like more, oh, I finally have a friend. He was afraid a bit, but he didn't run. He was interesting. Basically, that's in the way he was saying it. With Larugula basically blushing, quote unquote. It didn't really show, but she was blushing a bit. The dragon asking her if she wanted to give that boy his lacrima, with Larugula saying that it's not needed. With the dragon laughing and still taking it out, telling her that, well, if at one point he needs more power, he can always use it. With her just thinking that it shouldn't be a problem in his world, they're already stronger than most heroes. Which the dragon laughs a bit and asks, so, you really did go to that world for all these years. Tell me about it, so that we can reconnect for the time it takes them. So yeah, for her, it's basically she got another lacrima that will be given to Deku at one point, but not now. And basically for the entire time that Deku, Kirishima, and Mina were going towards her, she was just with her old friend, telling him stories about the other world. Basically, now we get back to where our three friends were. I hit cars. Yeah, so anyway, basically, where they arrive, well, where we get back to them, is actually right around the territory of the A-class monsters. Those types of monsters actually are, well, most humans can't actually defeat them, and because of how they are seen, only those that are called heroes or, well, legends are able to fight them. There's around 25 to 30,000 adventurers that can be put in that class. And then for the rest of the people who aren't adventurers, it's mostly people like high court magicians or stuff like that that have been trained since basically birth and have so much magic power in themselves that they can live to 200 or more years because of their body basically having so much magic in them that it was boosted to that point. And then again, the only reason that most people who are adventurers get, well, the people who get to that point when they are adventurers is mostly because of their armor, weapons, stuff like that, or that they have the ability to eat the cores of monsters to grow their magic power, or, well, and strength. So, basically those are the type of people that are able to get to hero or legendary class. Yes, there are also people who are just born extremely strong, which is basically, they have the body that is specifically made to absorb magic to a point that, they are extremely powerful. But those are a lot rarer. And most of the time, those are people that are actually reincarnated and basically just kept the absorption speed of magic that they had basically gotten over in their old life. So yeah, most legendary or hero classes are reborn people. Deku, Kirishima, and Mina knew this, and were actually some people that were said to probably be close to that. But the thing that most people don't understand is that the reason for that isn't actually because of their weapons and armor. It's literally just because of the absorption rate of magic that they have. Since at one point, literally they were just looking for monsters that had the ability to absorb magic so that their cores could be used to power themselves up. Which over time did basically make their bodies specifically made to absorb and create such a large amount of magic that even without the lacrima, Deku, Mina, and Kirishima could be said to have the same amount of magic creation as a lacrima, though them it's compared to a lacrima, the amount of magic they create, which a lacrima can create like a certain amount in 30 minutes, then it will take the entire day to do that same amount of magic from their body. But still, since it's comparable, they would be classed as legendary. So still, basically, well, I'm going to end it here. Because, yeah, I'm actually close to home right now, so I have to end it. Tomorrow I'm going to continue, pass over the year before UA, and after that go to the start of UA. Hope you liked it, leave a like if you did, not to, out.